Hey there guys, TechPC Guy here, and we talk a lot about overclocking around here, but it's mostly focused on hardware like CPUs, GPUs, and to a lesser extent RAM. This video is about something else. This is about monitor overclocking. So overclocking your display, what does that entail, and what are the benefits and drawbacks of it? First of all, what is monitor overclocking? Much like you can overclock your GPU to give you more FPS or your CPU to be more productive, you overclock your monitor to give you higher refresh rate. You cannot change the resolution. You're not going to change your 1080p monitor into a 4K or into anything other than 1080p, but you can change your 60 Hz screen into slightly higher overclocking. Now, how much can you get from that? It will differ a lot from depending on what brand and model you have. There are so many brands and models out there that it's very difficult to give you a feel on exactly how much you are going to get without actually trying or knowing someone that actually overclocked that specific model. As a general rule of thumb, you cannot expect much. 5, 10 megahertz on an average scale. Some monitors are known to get on the 20 to 25 range, depending on the make and model. Those are the positive points. What are the drawbacks? There's always drawbacks to overclocking, like increased temperature, instability, and well, possible death of the equipment. You can destroy your monitor by doing this. It's a bit more risky than other component overclocking like RAM, CPU, GPU, but if you do it carefully, you should still be fine. However, if you experience any other issues which can arise, like artifacts, screen tearing, you will notice a slight change in the color. Overclocking your monitor will very often make it the color quality a little bit worse, at the exchange of that refresh rate getting better. So it's up to you and do it at your own risk. I'm just telling you information about it and how to do it, but it's up to you if you want to take that step or not. How do we go about actually overclocking the monitor? Just open up your NVIDIA control panel. I only have an NVIDIA card, so I cannot show you for AMD, although I will give you a little rundown and a little, spoken how to after the NVIDIA part. So stay tuned for that. Open your NVIDIA control panel by right-clicking your NVIDIA button at the bottom, the control panel. Go to change resolution and hit customize. Here on the standard you get what is supported natively by your screen, the refresh rates that it supports and other settings. Just hit customize here to go to, create a custom resolution. Hit it here and just bump up the refresh rate. Just leave all the rest alone. You don't need to touch the rest. It's a bit even more sensitive than this is. And bump the refresh rate. Well, let's start with 5 for example. Bump the refresh rate up by 5 and hit test. Your screen will flicker to black for a second and give you this window if the test was successful, asking if you want to revert or save the resolution that you just tried out. This is basically the core of overclocking a screen with an NVIDIA GPU. Just keep going up in small increments. I suggest not more than 3-4 megahertz at a time until your screen starts giving you, issues or saying that a test failed. However, I do advise playing for a bit, a game or watching a movie, something like that, to see if you notice anything weird as far as like the color changes that I mentioned, artifacts like screen tearing or weird things on your screen, to see if your overclock has actually gone too far. Like all overclocks, you might have to dial it back if you start getting issues. There is also something to be said about what refresh rates you actually want. It is usually advised to have the refresh rate scaling in increments of 24, so 24, 48, 72, etc. This is because a lot of movies, TV shows, etc. are filmed at 24 FPS, so they play better. You have a better experience playing them back if you are on a multiple of 24, with 60 being an exception because, that's kind of a standard resolution. So if you can hit, for example, the 72, I would leave it there. For things like games, etc., it does not matter a whole lot if it's a multiple of 24 or not, but if you like watching series and movies on your PC, then it's advised to be at a multiple then. A couple small notes. To make sure that your overclock is actually working properly, you should use a tool like Blur Busters. It helps you actually make sure there is no frame skipping or frames being not shown on your screen, and it is actually displaying at the frame rate that you have set. Right now I'm still at the 60, I have not changed yet. I have not saved that example I showed you, but what you have to do is you should take a photo of the screen with your phone camera. Screenshots don't work, it has to be with your phone camera, and the trick is to use 1/10 exposure. You have to change the settings in your camera most likely, so that it will capture the light in multiple squares. And what you need to see is if you see all squares next to each other, it is working fine. If you see like two white squares and then a black square and then other white squares after that, that means that the frame with the black square was skipped. So your screen did not display all the frames correctly and your overclock has gone too far and you need to dial it back. I'll put the link to this tool at the description of the video. There are also programs like Color Sustainer that helps you mitigate the change in colors that comes sometimes with overclocking. So look into that if the color difference really bother you a lot. However, if you just game or watch shows, you probably won't notice much. But if you're an artist that needs to work on digital work on their PC, then you do value color accuracy and you probably want your colors to be as accurate as possible. For non-video users, if you're on AMD or Intel integrated graphics, you can still overclock your monitor, although you will need a separate program called CRU or Custom Resolution Utility. You need to download that. I'll put a link in the card or in the description below. And it works much like with NVIDIA, where you just go in, you don't touch anything else, and you just change the resolution little steps at a time. And you might have to restart your PC a couple of times to restart the graphics drivers, and then you can, well, on the resolution selection in Windows, just select the custom resolutions that you created, and you can then test them and see, and again, test for stability, etc. The catch is with this, you have to create multiple profiles to get multiple listings there to keep testing each one. As opposed to NVIDIA, you can just select a handy drop-down box, just change the number there, and you are pretty much done. A word needs to be said about the LCD timings. LCD standard on the CRU is the standard timings. You can change it. You can possibly change it. For example, LCD native helps with achieving even higher refresh rates, but while LCD reduced might also help with that. However, this is a bit of higher level of tinkering that I'm comfortable with telling someone that does not know much about monitor overclocking to do. I personally have not tried it yet either, so again, I have my reservations about advising you to do it, but just know that it can help pushing it even further. However, once again, be careful with overclocking your monitor. You don't want your screen to basically just die on you while just trying to achieve an extra 5 frames or something. If you do choose to overclock your monitor, hope you guys get some nice results and stability on your screen and no issues. I personally won't bother, most likely, mostly because I'm planning to upgrade sometime in the near future for a higher refresh rate, higher resolution screen. So I'll just let my monitor be in peace in the meantime. Once again, don't expect to notice a massive difference. You'll probably get at most 10-15 Hertz on your screen at best case scenario, a 20 or something. So it's not going to make you suddenly have a free 144 Hz screen or anything like that. However, well, any frame and any refresh rate is always for free because, well, overclocking costs you nothing unless you destroy your parts. So it is always a welcome addition. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this sort of content. I would love to do more content like this for you guys, but it's always tricky being a small channel. So share, subscribe, like, watch our other videos. Everything helps with the channel growing, and well, it will give us more resources to work with and better content for you guys to enjoy. This has been Ethic PC Guy. Hope you've enjoyed the video and have fun with your screens. See you next time.